Hello everybody, this is Sportman16 here. Hopefully y'all are having a good time right now. So, back in November, I believe it was early November, I did my own little talk about the game Rocket League and how I've been starting off and everything, and gave my own little review on it. But as I looked back on it, I realized that I didn't talk well enough about the game. So I want to really take this time to, give off a good talk about this game. And pretty much, well, this is probably going to be another long video of like maybe say 20, 30, 40 minutes, maybe even longer. So hopefully you all are comfy and maybe have some snacks or something, maybe a good drink, because this is going to be my more in-depth talk about Rocket League. The good stuff and the bad stuff, and really some things in the games that I really wish could improve or change up. So I'll be saying this again when I talked about this the first time. What is Rocket League? Well, simply put it, it's soccer/football with mostly fictional cars in it. I do say mostly because there actually have been the cases where Psyonix, the developers of Rocket League, incorporated real-world vehicles into the game. And they have done so fairly recently, and as of this recording, it's still technically going on. And it's that of the release of the Ford F-150 Rocket League Edition, which is still in the item shop till the 28th. So hopefully you guys can get your hands on that truck before it's gone. Even though it does cost about 1,500 credits, which, trust me, when it comes to credits, I'll talk about that later. But the good thing about Rocket League is, well, with the gameplay itself, one of the good things about the gameplay itself is that you have full-fledged control of that car, where you can basically drive it in any direction you want, and when you're in the air, oh boy, you again have full-fledged control. Like, you can spin it to whatever direction you want, flip it whichever way you want. Cause you take a look at Rocket League freestylers. Those are the people that really show the big mechanic of having full-on control of your vehicle. But with that, it leads to various modes of okay, let me try and word this better. It pretty much gives you free reign to create whatever playstyle you want. Whether you can be like super aggressive, a bit more defensive. Freestyler is its own playstyle in of itself. Or you just want to be in the air most of the time, which is something that the pros I've seen do, is spend more time in the air than on the ground, but you can basically make whatever playstyle you want. Me, I kind of see myself as being more aggressive or offensive than defensive. I kind of tend to be a mix of both, but I do see myself as a bit more on the offensive side of things. And sometimes I get a little too offensive and going for the ball, and I do see myself as a sort of aggressive ball chaser, which that's definitely one of the bad play styles of the game. Along with like people who cut into rotations where it's like basically players rotating different positions. Like one player goes on the offense, and like two or three others are more on like the sides, and one being the back on defense, and they just rotate out and all that. But yeah, there's just so many different play styles that you can choose from, or just make your own when having control of your car. And it's also pretty cool that in Rocket League that they have more than just your standard games. Because with your standard games, you can pretty much go like on the standard 3v3, or you can go more simpler to 2v2, or even to just, mano a mano, 1v1, or if you want some real chaos, you can go into 4v4. The only time I've ever did that was a mode that they did a few weeks ago, which was that of Rocket League's Gridiron, which is pretty much their version of American football. And I will say, Gridiron was fun, and I really wish they should bring that back as a permanent mode, cause that's just fun. But the other permanent modes that they have is Rumble, which is pretty much standard 3v3 with items like you got like a boxing glove that shoots the ball forward, a boot that kicks opposing players, a tornado that lifts the ball and opposing players up into the air and spins them around, a magnet which attracts the ball more closer to you, a grapple hook which grapples you onto the ball and sends you to the ball. There's spikes where whatever part of your car touches the ball will latch onto that part, which let me tell you, the spikes is a double-edged sword. Because if you get the ball to land on top of your car, you're golden. But if it's like anywhere from underneath the car, you're definitely in trouble, and most likely you're either going to get bumped real hard or you're going to get demolished. Or, as it's pretty much called, getting demoed. And then there's also, freezing the ball wherever you used it. Or there's also the plunger, where you send a big old plunger to the ball, and it's best for you to use that plunger to your advantage and swing it to the goal. And I do believe one else that I can remember is boost, a speed boost, where it's not speed boost to you, but to your opponent. You give it to them, and they have infinite, uncontrollable boost for a few seconds. And yeah, they can't just simply turn it off. They have to wait out the time to let the boost finish. So yeah, Rumble gets pretty stinking crazy, and leading to some pretty ridiculous goals. And one more item that I just now remembered is that of, teleporting, where you basically swap your position with an opposing teammate, or opposing player, sorry. The other modes are drop shot, where the way to score a goal is let the ball fall through the floor. I don't really play that mode too often, so I don't know the entirety of how that mode works. And then there's pretty much also two other sports thrown in, two extra modes, which is hoops, aka basketball, and hockey, where the ball gets replaced with a puck and you play in a snowy arena. And pretty much with hoops is pretty much the goals are two giant basketball hoops. So yeah, that's pretty much what modes that you have. I mean, also you can also go into free play to honing your skills, or go into some actual training, learning like how to learn the basic stuff, and working your way up to be more of a better player, which I have done. But there are things that the standard training packs don't have, that other players can create their own custom training packs to train other novice players, aka myself, to get better at the game. Because one of the training packs was just simply learning one of the tricks that was fan named, called the Musty Flick, where it's basically taking I believe it's more the back end of your car and launching it into the goal, or in this case just flicking it into the goal. But I can guarantee you the tricks that these pro veteran players created, I'll never be able to land those. Because even though I did do a training pack that teach me to do the Musty Flick, I'm just going to be too competitive to do it in an actual match. So yeah. Um, and of course, Rocket League does have its own way of ranking, which pretty much you got your different tiers of how well you are, with the lowest being bronze, and then there's silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and then I believe it is champ, grand champ, and then the highest level being supersonic legend. But for me, I honestly see myself as like somewhere around like gold or silver, because I will openly admit that I am bad. I'm bad at the game, but at least I know what I'm doing. More around 3/4 at a time. But yeah, basically playing those modes is really only, I feel like, is only half the experience, because the other half of the experience is my favorite part of the game: the car customization. And let me tell you, the customization in the game is utterly massive, because there's like hundreds of thousands to possibly even millions among millions of car customization creations that you can choose from, where you can choose from your the different vehicle that you use, the decals that you can apply, with some of them either being static decals or animated decals. And let me tell you, the players really love the animated decals. There's also customization for your boost, your trail for when your car goes to full speed. Then there's also antennas, toppers, which is stuff that you put on top of your car, which can make your car look either better or just plain silly. You even have your own goal explosions, which is pretty much what happens to the ball when you get it into the goal. And it's just straight up amazing. And it's cool that also when you create a vehicle that you like, but you want to make another one, they pretty much have what they call presets, where you start out with a blank slate, which is out of a blank Octane, because the Octane is pretty much Rocket League's poster car. Like, pretty much the Octane in Rocket League is what Pikachu is to Pokemon. That's pretty much what it is. And pretty much once you have your preset, you can basically choose whatever body you want, what decal you want. Like, you can even go for paint, like paint colors. Like you can have like the entire rainbow at your disposal. But the paints are still split into two teams, being the blue team and the orange team, even though I kind of wish the orange team would be red, but it's really whatever. Like, with the blue side, you can choose between different shades of blue, to green, to even purple. Even though if I remember correctly, that early on, like, I think it's like probably within the first year of Rocket League's life, that the main primary color options were much more limited, but then they expanded upon it. And then pretty much with your accent colors, you pretty much got access to pretty much every color of the rainbow, including black and white. And then you pretty much have your paint finishes, where you can add a little extra detail if you're using the static decals. And trust me, there are a lot of paint finishes you can choose from. And then there's pretty much your choice of wheels, and oh boy, the wheel choices is just huge. Like, there are just so many types of wheels that you really wouldn't actually expect, because you got like your standard regular car wheels, to like you can have like wheels that have like faces on them, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. Or you can have a wheel where its spokes are electricity. Or you can have a car's wheels where the wheels are literally fidget spinners. It's just that crazy. And then there's pretty much your boost, and it's pretty big too. Not as big as, say, wheels, but it's still pretty big. Then you pretty much get your customization on toppers, antennas, goal explosions, trails from when your car is going full speed. You can even change the car's engine audio. The customization is just utterly massive. And that's the thing I like about this game so much is customization, because it's like another little branch to expand upon our creativity. And I definitely have come up with some good designs, but not like absolutely, what they call banger designs, or having like, try hard designs or clean designs or fire designs. But it's still really amazing what you can come up with. And that's just my favorite part of all of Rocket League is the customization. Now, to be talking about possibly one of the negative things about the game, well, it's honestly not really the game itself. It's really more or less the community behind it. And honestly, it just really follows suit to almost every other gaming community. It's great when you find the good people who are nice and kind, and they will accept your apology when you screw up somewhere in a match and potentially like give the opponent the goal or you own goal yourself. But then, more or less of the time, you're just gonna find those bad apples where they will just like bump and demo you all the time, and possibly bumping you to the point where you own goal, or where they force you to own goal, and basically players spamming what a save all the stinking time, or nice shot, or great pass when you're the one who's screwed up. Like, yeah, pretty much Rocket League does have its level of toxicity, much like almost every other gaming community in general. And it's just ridiculous. And also for the fact of when it comes to trading in the game, again, the problem is pretty much the people. Because more or less people just really want these really rare, high-priced items. Like, mostly people are just wanting like exotics, imports, and black markets, which are like the rarest items out there, especially when it comes to black market stuff. But possibly the one thing that I can think of that Rocket League players want more than anything else is pretty much the rarest import body of them all, or the most popular import body of them all. The titanium white octane. Because, yeah, that's the thing about the bodies, for most of them. Some of them, or a good majority of them, do come with painted versions. Whether they be gray, black, red, forest green, lime green, cobalt blue, sky blue, saffron yellow, burnt sienna, which is the least popular color in the community, and the most popular color in the community being titanium white. I mean, really nice name for a color, and it's just very rare, or pretty much is very exciting when people get titanium white items, even if it is something as minor as say a rare, very rare, or exotic or something like that. Because trust me, people, when it comes to the titanium white octane, they will spend thousands to even tens of thousands of credits just to get it from someone who has a spare. I myself do not own a titanium white octane. I mean, do I want one? Well, yes. But I'm not exactly desperate for one, or even much of titanium white vehicles in general. It's just that, yeah, I would like them, but I'm not desperate for them. And this is pretty much also the same thing when it comes to black market items. Pretty much specifically the black market decals and goal explosions, because I think those are the only things that are black markets, which are decals and goal explosions. And don't get me wrong, the black market stuff is like the most amazing out of all of them. Yeah, a few of them might be a bit iffy, but that's really nothing. And again, with the black market items, people will spend hundreds to thousands of credits just to get these things from other people who are willing to trade them. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to get some black markets myself, but having to go through all that just to get them is not exactly the most fun and easy thing to do. Now, when it comes to the credits themselves, this does lead into a problem that I just don't like with this game. Is pretty much what you have to do to obtain credits. And that is to be spending in real life money to get these credits. Whether it be from the Nintendo eShop or from Rocket League shops online that offer credits from like to as small as 1,000 to as big as like 30,000. And also with how the way you get items in these games is either you play a game, complete the game, and you have a chance of getting a blueprint of an item, or you complete the weekly challenge that would have a drop in it and open it up and hope for the best. So far for me, it's pretty much been mixed success, where sometimes I do get some pretty crappy items, and at other times I do get some good items, like getting some like a few exotics and imports. But I still have yet to get a black market in a weekly challenge drop. Now, this is actually an idea that I had for when it comes to getting, items and credits. What I would probably say would be a good idea, but would they ever do this? I don't know. Is that you pretty much get items depending on how many points you have scored in a game. So pretty much say if I were to play a game and I get like say 325 points, the game can reward me with 325 credits. So that's pretty much it right there. And with the item blueprints, I can just say I'm not a fan. Knowing that some of them, yeah, you can spend as little as 50 credits on something, but then you pretty much got the black market blueprints, which cost 2,000 credits to build. That's kind of ridiculous. And I really wish that when you complete a game, you get a chance of getting the actual item itself and not a blueprint for an item. And you could get the rarity of that item depending on how well you play in the game. Again, we can just vary that off of the points. So let's say I play a game and I get a score of around 100 to 400 points. I would get a chance of getting like common, rare, very rare, and the small chance of getting an exotic item. Whereas anything around 500 and higher, I could get the chance of like any item of any rarity. And having like the imports be like, say, 15% chance, and black markets being about, say, around 5, 10 to 1% chance. That could be a good idea right there. But would that actually happen? I don't know, and I have my doubts that they would. But if for some miraculous miracle reason that does happen, I will be shocked beyond belief. But like I said, I have my major doubts. But if you guys think that's a good idea, you can comment down below and tell me if it's a good idea or not. Yeah. That's how pretty much I would like for credits to be obtained in items as well. So, yeah. And also, one other thing that I do like about the game is the notion of replays, where where I do believe now that the game automatically saves a replay after each game, but apparently it seems like after a certain amount of replays are saved, the game just stops saving plays altogether, saying that like an error has occurred when distributing out the replay data, which that's kind of ridiculous. And I wish we could just have the way of saving up as many replays as we want. Have like just pretty much like a far bigger list of replays that we can save. But the thing I do like about the replays is the fact of being able to pause the game and basically create like a picture setup to where you can get like a certain field of view angle on the camera, changing the diagonal position of the camera, putting in filters or green screens, and being able to take a picture of a said moment that happened during the game. And that's pretty much what I've been doing because again, I'm just a nice little artiste. So yeah. Anything else that I am making notes that I forgot to talk about? I think that would honestly do it. If there is anything remotely at all that I missed about the game that I probably should have talked about, you can let me know in the comments below if the chance of anybody who watches this would like to say something about it. But I would pretty much say overall, Rocket League is a good game despite all the toxicity that it gets, and it was really cool for them to, let them have the free-to-play update that came out back in September, and giving cross-platform play where I'm playing Rocket League on the Switch and I can play against someone who is playing Rocket League on, say, the PS4 or PC, or a PC player playing with someone who's playing Rocket League on Xbox One. It was really awesome. But one other thing that I do note that when it comes to Rocket League being a negative thing is that Rocket League, I really felt like they need to step up their game on bringing in new content, and it does look like they are, because the fact that we, have these limited time modes, which some of them I really wish could stay as permanent modes, like I mentioned earlier, being Gridiron. That I would really like to have as a permanent mode. And also bringing like new content of, say, like more cars, or bringing back some DLC cars, because let me tell you this. When I was going through or looking on Rocket League's Twitter, and when they were announcing the Ford F-150 coming around, there were a lot of people who were seriously wanting the return of the Nissan Skyline, which I have seen it, and it's like, yeah, it's a nice car, but it's honestly best to give some new cars a chance, because even more recently there was the release of these new Series 2 items, which involved yet another new car called the Tigress, which is Tigress spelled with a Y instead of an I. And I have seen the car, and it looks good. I mean, I do want it, and trying to get all the other items that come with the Series 2 items. But again, the people were just complaining that they want the Nissan Skyline back. And I mean, I understand, but y'all gotta have some patience of whether or not they do bring back the Nissan Skyline. I mean, do I want it? A little. Or pretty much I wouldn't mind having it. But But just keep, like, if you were to just simply tell them that you want the Nissan Skyline in a mature and professional manner, then maybe they'll listen. But if you're just going in there all guns a-blazing, whining like a little baby, saying that, or pretty much saying, demanding that you want the Nissan Skyline to come back, then they're most likely not going to listen. I'm just saying. But that's just kind of the toxicity talking in the Rocket League community. And also just for the fact of people saying that the Octane is the best car in the game, along with the Fennec. But really, they're only just saying that these two are the best is because that's pretty much what the pro players are playing with. Because usually, people who play these games want to play with the more popular cars, being that of the Octane, the Fennec, even the Dominus, and maybe on the occasion the 2016 Batmobile. But that's not me. I don't play with the popular cars. I've only played with the Octane like on 3 separate times. One was, well, I think it was like for like when Christmas came around or something. The second time, well, I was kind of forced into playing the Octane because my teammate who I was playing with told me to switch cars because they just didn't like me playing with the current vehicle that I am driving with, which is that of the Grog. I don't exactly remember the third time. I think it was another time when I just decided to choose to play the Octane. But my main vehicles of choice are pretty much the Octane, Marauder, and on times the Merc. And yes, I have played with the F-150, and it's alright. I mean, I do like the look of it. I like the decal that comes with it. And the wheels and boost, I like it too. It's just really too bad that we can't take the Ford F-150's wheels and boost and apply it onto the other vehicles. So that was a bummer right there. But still a cool vehicle nonetheless. Or really, yeah, a cool vehicle nonetheless. Anything else? Thinking. Nope. I think that's probably a good enough talk about Rocket League. And pretty much I would definitely say that if you're interested in a more different take of a sports game, like something that's not like, say, FIFA, NFL, or something like that, Rocket League would definitely be a good game to try. And I mean, if you're not good at it, then that's fine. You don't have to play the game if you don't like the game or just not that good at it. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. One more thought just came into mind. Yeah, this is probably like the second time I've said this now. The other one big negative when it comes to the players themselves is the type of players that you come across as your teammate. And the two that I can think of that are the most aggravating, or even 3 maybe, is either 1, they're in the game and just sitting in their spot doing absolutely nothing. 2, sitting there at the goal wanting to be completely defensive. Or 3, just driving around the field not knowing what the absolute hell you're doing. Okay, and there's technically a 4th, which is that of people or players who are rather half booty at the game. And like being completely hesitant when hitting the ball. But I really can't be that mad at those kind of people because maybe they're just new players wanting to get into the game and trying to get the feel for the game for the first few, for either the first time or their first few matches. So I really can't be that mad at them for that. But for those who just sit there and do nothing or play as goalie, those are the most aggravating teammates to get. Because they're just sitting there, leaving me to defend for myself, especially in a 2v2, in a 2v1 scenario. Because, I mean, with 3v3 or even 4v4, it wouldn't be as bad because you at least still have some players that will either set up for you or have your back. But in 2v2, it's just the worst. Because you're pretty much left in a 2v1 scenario, and for me, more or less that time, I will not win. Although there have been a small handful of times where I actually did score in a 2v1 scenario. But yeah, pretty much teammates who just idle there and do nothing are the worst kind of teammates to get. And also adding in the notion of them spamming what is save on you when you messed up. When it's clearly you being the lazy little bum that you are, not playing the game, and not helping me in a 2v1 scenario and making things even for a 2v2. It's just the most aggravating thing. Or also the fact of when there is overtime and your teammate is the cause of losing overtime, whether they messed up in handing the ball to the opponent and I can't get to them fast enough to stop them from scoring, or the teammate own goals and basically giving the win to the opposing team in overtime or in the final few seconds of the game. That right there just aggravates me so much that I just want to just chuck something out my window and never play the game again. But I just want to keep playing the game because Rocket League is just too damn fun to me. And trust me, Rocket League with bad teammates makes me more angry than I ever have been. Because the fact that I do have competitive gaming anger problems. But that's something that I've already talked about before and just don't want to talk about it here. So now I believe that is everything that I do want to talk about when it comes to Rocket League. So that's pretty much it. Rocket League, pretty fun game if you can simply ignore the toxicity and deal with really terrible A players. It's a fun game. Like the standard modes and extra modes can be fun once you get the hang of it, and the customization is also just as fun as playing the game itself. So thank you all so much for listening in to me, talking or rambling about Rocket League for what appears to be almost 40 minutes now. And what other kind of stuff I'll be making about Rocket League comes, well, whenever it dies. Because I don't exactly have the tools needed to make good, long Rocket League videos multiple times. But it is what it is. So, again, thank you all so much for listening, and another video will come around whenever it does. So, guess I'll see you all then.